The last thing I'd like to discuss is search engine marketing. This is an old topic. Well, old is relative. So in e-business, we talk about traditional things. We talk about old things, but they're only at most like 20, 25 years old. But in internet terms, that is a long time. That is old. So search engine marketing has been around for quite a while, ever since Google started. Of course, search engine marketing is Google's claim to fame, is the vast majority of Google's revenues, of course. Although YouTube now is pretty important, but the large part of what Google does is search engine marketing, and its revenue, search marketing revenue actually supports its other developments, such as the Google Docs and so on, all of those new technologies, and a lot of things that we use for free, like Android, the Android systems. Android mobile operating system is pretty much all supported by the search marketing. So why is search engine marketing so big, so important? So many people are still using that. Well, the search volume is huge because this is my starting page. If I go whenever I start a new tab, I started with a Google on a Google page, because most of the time that's what I want to do. I want to start by searching something, right? Unless I know exactly where I'm going to. And the searches are a pull instead of a push advertising. So pull means that the consumers are actually pulling the advertisers to themselves. So it's not the advertisers pushing a particular ads, or pushing a particular page, or pushing a particular presentation to the consumers. The consumers are actually asking the advertisers, asking the companies to show something to them. Right. So this is it's completely driven by the consumers. So this is great because we already. So if someone is searching for a particular item, or a particular item in a particular form, then we already get past the first two stages of the consumer decision-making process, because now the consumers are actually looking. We know that the consumers are looking for our item, are looking for our product. So if we only have to present to them. And finally, whenever I pull up a search page, then on top, those top search results are basically the things that people are going to look at, right? So if I can appear to the top, then the chances are someone is going to buy something or going to use my product. So that's why search engine marketing can be so effective, and it's been proven effective for years. So that's why it's still the top form of marketing, of e-marketing. So when you make a search, when you do a search, then there are two types of search results presented to you. So you can see that from this screenshot on the right, which I just did. Okay, so I just I went to Google, I put in online advertising, and boom, this is the result that I see on this page. So there are two types of search results. There are organic search results. That's the search result that we expect. So that's that will be the best websites that the search engine algorithm can find, matching my search keywords. So I'm searching for online advertising related sites, and Google, based on this algorithm, finds the best matching results. So that's the organic search results. And then there are paid search results. So those search listings are paid for by advertisers. Whenever there's a combination of keywords and other things, such as timing and locations and so on, that are being put into the search engine, then put into the search engine, then the advertisers are paying Google to show the result. And if you see on the screenshot, the first these four are all ads, and it says ad. Hopefully you can see that. So they're ad. So these are actually paid ads. These are not the results that Google search engine algorithm has found. to match the online advertising. These are the results that are based on the advertiser's payment. Whenever they say, okay, so whenever Google, you see that someone is searching for online advertising on this day, at this time, from this location, and so on, so put me out. Okay, so that's the top 4 are paid search results, and only this one and this one are the organic search results. So there are 2 ways to allow you to be presented to the customer through search engine. So you can actually optimize your website to those search results, to those keywords. Then you get presented as the top search results, top organic search results of these 2. So that's what we call the search engine optimization, or SEO. But SEO, so to be able to be presented on the first page is really important, because a lot of people don't ever go past the first page. But if you look at this first page of search results, only 2 organic search results got presented. So if you're not number 1, if you're not number 2 search results, you probably won't get a click through, right? So then, in order to get a click through, then you have to be present on this first page. Then the only way to do that, the only other way to do that is to pay Google to be shown there. So that is called pay per click, or PPC advertising. So in order to take advantage of the search engine marketing, you can either optimize your search engine so that the matching keywords will result in your site being listed as the top organic search results, or you pay Google to show your websites when someone is searching for these keywords. So SEO or PPC, those are the 2 ways of search engine advertising. So this is just a quick comparison between SEO and PPC. Well, the naive thinking is that SEO must be easier, cheaper, because, well, you don't have to pay, right? PPC, you have to pay per click. So every time you pay, every time you're being shown, you have to pay. And the payment is all based on the bidding. So you actually go on to the Google AdWords network, and then you create a website, and then you create an account, and then you have to bid for these keywords, and there are a whole bunch of other categories or other things that you can put in based on the time, location, and so on. And then you can say that okay, so this is how much I'm gonna pay per showing, and then per click. And Google is going to present all of the ads based on the bid. So every time somebody clicks through your listing, then you have to pay. All right, so that can get really expensive. So a lot of people will tend to think that SEO is cheap because you don't have to pay at all. You just have to optimize your website to make sure that whenever there's a bunch of keywords being presented, will be shown. But as it turns out, it's really not that easy, because it's very difficult to get listed, because as you've seen from the last screenshot, only 2 got presented on that first page, and then if you're on the second page, it's very hard for the consumers to find you. So you have to make sure that you're completely optimized, and there's a lot of different things that you have to do to optimize your website, and that can be very difficult. Actually, it can be very costly, because most likely you're going to have to find someone to do that for you, unless you're very technically oriented. So it's actually a lot easier to do PPC, and if you do that very effectively, it can be actually cheaper than SEO and can be more effective. So there's lots of things that you have to think about, how you're going to, lots of things to weigh in terms of deciding whether you want to use SEO or PPC or both. Well, let's look at SEO, search engine optimization, a little closer. So this is a very effective way of getting your page to be listed on top as a search result. And you have to, so in order to do that, you have to know that which keywords or when somebody using certain keywords, then your website will be presented, right? So you have to be able to identify those right key phrases, and so if your website is built to suit to fit that keyword search, then you'll be presented on top. But it's a very difficult process actually, because you have to think how many of the top search results will be presented on the first page and even above the fold. So that's the basically no scrolling is needed. So it's not just on the first page, but you don't want the consumers to have to scroll down to find your page. And so, as you have seen on the screenshot, only 2 of them got presented. So out of the hundreds and thousands of websites, you want to be the top 2. That's actually very difficult. There are certain rules that you can follow, although Google changes its algorithm regularly, but there are certain rules that you have to follow. So these are some. So you want to build a search engine friendly website structure. So what it means is that you have to have you want to have a lot of pages generated based on the keywords, and also the crawler, the web crawler or the search engine algorithm that Google is using doesn't really look at the dynamic pages. So if all of the content is part of the dynamic pages, then it may not be search engine optimized. So these are actually technical details that you probably have to hire someone to do, unless you're really well versed in the technical on the technical side of the of building the website. And you want to, this is probably the most important starting point, is a well-researched list of key phrases that you really want to use, that you see that people are using the right type of phrases, and then you want to optimize to target those phrases. So you want to make sure that the content actually mention those phrases in the best way, and also you want to include those phrases in part of the meta structure of the web page. The link popularity means that your website is important. Other sites have linked to your sites, so it's the in link that's important. And then you always have to pay attention to the emerging trends. So for instance, whether there's a lot of local searches, there's a lot of personalized searches, because most people allow Google to keep track of their searches. So Google will present the searches that are close to the personal record. So maybe there's some kind of personalized searches that can bring up your page better. So those are the things that you have to keep track of. So the moral of the story is that search engine optimization, although it sounds like a freebie that you can take advantage of, as long as you build your website, build your app in a much better way, then you'll get listed as the top search results. You don't have to spend any money. You don't have to do anything. But in reality, it's actually a very, very difficult task. It's a very challenging task in order to be able to show up as the top search results, so that the consumers will be able to find you. And it actually takes a lot of work. Sometimes it actually costs you a lot. Costs a lot to be able to optimize your website for that. So on the other side of the SEO is PPC. So that's the pay-per-click advertising. So if you're an advertiser, then you have to do the following. You have to pick the right keywords. So you say that, okay, so whenever someone is searching for electric toothbrush, then I want my site to be shown. So those are the keywords that I picked. Okay, and then you have to create a content suited for these keywords, and then you have to go to Google, and then you place a bid and say, okay, so every time when my website is being shown, or my ads is being shown, and the consumer clicks through my website, then I want to pay you this much. So that's what I, as an advertiser, have to do. And then search engine algorithm will check the advertisement to make sure that it meets the editorial guidelines. So Google wants to make sure that whenever you bid for a keyword, the keyword is actually linked to the website, and then you rank the advertisers based on the maximum bid and the relevance, and then display the ads back whenever there's to the consumers whenever the keywords are being used. So this is just an example of keyword matching based on the kind of keywords that I want to see and the keywords that are being used by the users. And you can see that when an ad may or may not be presented based on what the user keyword entry looks like. Well, the best part about PPC is that you can actually experiment. So you can actually come up with a different types of keyword combination and see which one actually gives you the best result. So if you have a loosely defined keywords, so you just put in red shoes, for instance, on like the last page, then you get the maximum number of presentation. But that doesn't mean that it will be useful to you, because maybe only a small number of those actual users will actually click through your ad. If you target a little better, so let's say that you combine red shoes, those two words together in the right order, so maybe that will target the people who actually want to see red shoes. Then, although that's a smaller subset, but the probability of someone clicking through it and also buying red shoes from you will be higher. So you can do all these experiments. I'm not going to go into the details of these experiments. You go into A, B, and C, and then you change the keyword combination, so you get actually different impressions, different clicks, and then different conversions, and you can decide whether the cost per acquisition, which one actually is cheaper, and how many acquisition you get, which one is more effective. So with PPC, you can actually experiment and change the keyword combination, change the bidding, and so on, and then maybe in a few months, in a few weeks, or you can actually stabilize to the best PPC scheme that you will offer based on the keywords, the other factors, and also the payment. So compared to SEO, there are pros and cons of PPC. The best part about PPC is that the cost barrier, the entry barrier is very low. So you can identify the keywords, just set up an account, you can start your PPC campaign. And it allows you to track what's happening, and you can target very specific customers, and then using very specific keywords. But at the same time, the keyword bidding can go up very quickly. So if you use a popular keyword such as mesothelioma, I heard that keyword has the PPC is like $10-20. So it's $10-20 per click. That can be very, very expensive very quickly. So in order to be cost effective, in order to be very to keep track of the return on investment, you need a lot of monitoring, you need a lot of adjustment, you need a lot of the reprogramming of the marketing campaign. So that sometimes may require hiring an ad agency to do that. So at the end of the day, it will cost you quite a bit to run an effective PPC campaign. But the moral of the story is whatever form you use, whether you use search engine advertising, whether you use online display ads, or whether you use search engine, or whether you use social media, which we will cover in a future module, this is not a set it and forget it kind of task. Because of the flexibility and because of the ability to keep track of what's going on in the digital platform, e-marketing can be very effective, but it's also a very involved process that requires a lot of work, that requires a lot of adjustments.